I just got my hands on the brand new e.l.f. Cosmetics Dunkin' Donuts collection, and we're gonna see if it's worth checking out. But make sure you grab yourself a coffee or a snack or something because we have a bunch of things to try out today. Like, I wouldn't say that this collection is massive, but there is a lot of pieces to it. So, I mean, like, the first item we have are these cute little eyeshadow palettes. And again, I believe that you can only get them in this set, so we're gonna be trying all of them today. We also have some gloss keychains, which I have not seen something like this in a hot minute. Next, we have the Donut Putty Primer, and again, like, the packaging is super cute. We also have a donut sponge. Like, I have never seen anything like this before, and like these little sprinkles right here look super cute. And then the last items that we have are a coffee lip scrub and then some brushes. But again, before we jump into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on Instagram or TikTok, it's at Breyonna as well. So I just pried my eyes off camera, but we're gonna go in with the Strawberry Frosted with Sprinkles eyeshadow palette, which is the more like mauve one. And I'm first gonna go in with this lighter matte shade using the big old fluffy brush out of the collection. I'm just going to be popping this baby in my crease, and I do want to do a two-tone look today, so like on one eye we're going to be doing something different than the other eye, because I want to try as many of these shades as possible, or as many of the eyeshadow palettes. But right off the bat, this shade is extremely light. Like, it's a very light transition shade, so I'm just going to go in with a little bit more, but to me it's like a pastel baby pink with just a little bit of a neutral undertone to it. Like, it's not a bright baby pink. It's very muted. But again, it's blending out really nice. It's just really, really pale. But also, like, this brush is really soft, and I also really enjoy the shape of it because it's like a pinched blending brush. So it gets in that crease really well, but it also blends up really well. Now, I will warn you, if you have smaller eyes, because I do have a lot of lid space, this brush might be a little bit too big for you, and if that's the case, you could always use it for highlighter or even nose contour. So to deepen up the outer V, I'm just gonna go in with this deeper mauve shade out of the Strawberry palette, and I'm also gonna take it on this dome-shaped brush. And I'm popping it in my crease. Ooh, that's a really pretty color. This one's more pigmented than that first shade that we used. Now, these shades are a little bit on the powdery side, the mattes, but they are blending out really nice. They just have a little bit of kickback, so I definitely do my eyes first before doing my face makeup just to make cleanup a little bit easier. And I would say that both of these shades have a more buildable formula to them. But you can see I'm getting a really nice soft blend. So now we're just going to go in with the Boston Cream palette, and I'm going to go in with this yellow. They don't have names to them, they just have the palette name itself. But this shade is extremely powdery, like it's very, very dusty. So you just want to be a little bit careful when you use it. But right off the bat, like, it's a very, very pale yellow. It's actually hard to find yellows this kind of shade. So I'm curious to see how it is going to apply. And I'm just going to go in with a second layer. And with these shades being so light, I would actually recommend using a light color tacky primer with these palettes just in general. I'm using my ABH one right now, but the e.l.f. one would work really well with it. The white one that they have, the Putty Eye Primer. You know, you just want something for the pastels really to stick to. Because pastels do have a tendency to get a little bit more on the powdery side from my personal experience. Because I'm somebody, I really like pastels. I use them all the time. But sometimes they do require a certain kind of primer. But again, like, it's applying really nice. It just has a lot of kickback to it. So I do want to deepen it up just a little bit. So I'm going to go in with the shade right next to that pale yellow. And it's kind of like a neutral brown. Like a mid-tone. And I'm just going to be taking it on this brush I have. It's a pinch blending brush from Morphe. It's an M433. I'm just lightly applying it in my crease because, again, I don't want this shade to overpower the yellow. I just want to get a little bit more depth with it. I'm just going to go in with a second layer. Yeah, these shades to me are more of a buildable formula. They're not like super crazy pigmented right off the bat. So they're going to be very beginner friendly. So I'm going to go in with a little bit more. But you can see it's giving me a perfect blend. Like, I'm not getting like these like weird chunky bits or anything along those lines. It's staying right where I'm putting it. I'm just trying to be a little bit more mindful because, again, I don't want this brown to overpower the yellow. Since it is such a pale yellow, I fear if I get it like too much in there, it's just going to take over and it's become like a brown kind of eye, and I still want to have like that little hint of yellow to it. You know, I'm just going to take a little bit of this neutral brown and pop it in on the pink side as well. Just because I feel like the pinks were just so similar and that first shade was so pale that you can't really see that definition. So I'm hoping adding this brown will kind of give us a little bit more of that pop, kind of like the yellow side has. And you can see it's just a little bit more on the buildable side. So if you don't like building up your shades, you probably won't like the formula of this. But if you're somebody that wants to experiment with color and you don't like things like really like loud, or if you're looking for really cute like spring colors that aren't like super crazy and out there, I think you're gonna really like these. So I cut my crease off camera and I wanna get rid of this like little chunky bit right here. So I'm first gonna go in with a strawberry palette and go in with that darker shade. I'm just using that Dome eyeshadow brush from the collection. And then I'm going to mix it in with that brown out of the Boston Cream palette. And then I'm just gonna pack it right here on the edge, just a little bit, so when we go in with the shimmers, it kind of have something to blend into. And the reason I'm mixing them is because I feel like it's gonna match just a little bit better. So for the lid on the pinky side, we're gonna go in with the Chocolate Frosted with Sprinkles palette. I'm gonna go in with this yellow shimmer shade. Oh, that looks really good on my brush. But let's see how it applies. Oh shit. Oh, that is sparkly. Oh my gosh, like that is such a good shimmer. And it is like popping. Like it is like so pigmented and just sparkly. Like if you're like me and you like really sparkly shimmers, you are gonna love this one. Again, it does have like a little bit of fallout. So with these palettes, just do your eyes first. Like just trust me on this because it's gonna be so much easier. But oh my gosh, like, that is so pretty. I actually really like it with this like mauve-y, rosy situation that we have going on. Now I am gonna go in with just a tiny bit more. Just to kind of like define the edge and then to tap it into this outer edge. Again, like you don't even have to build this shimmer up, like it is popping on the first layer. And then I'm just gonna go back in with that little mixture on that dome brush and just kind of tap out the edge just a tiny bit. Again, just to make sure we have that seamless blend. And then for the yellow side, I'm just gonna go in with this pinky shimmer shade. And now for the yellow side, I'm just gonna pop this pink shimmer all over the lid. I'm just gonna go in with just a little bit more. This one's really sparkly too. It's not as like loud as the yellow, but it has a lot of shine to it. Kind of more of like a wet sheen metallic, I would say. Ooh, I forgot to do the outer edge, so I'm just gonna go in with that mid-tone like brown shade on the Boston Cream palette. And this time around, I'm gonna use this brush from the collection. It's like the little smudger shader brush. And I'm just gonna pack it right on that edge. And I'm just gonna take more of the pink and then overlap it. But you can see like it's sparkly, but it's just not as intense as the yellow. And I'm just gonna take more of the pink shimmer. I will say the more that you layer up this pink, the more like extra it gets. So now let's go in with the Do Not Forget Putty Primer. Now I'm gonna keep it real with you. The Putty Primer doesn't really work that well for my skin. For some odd reason, it always just makes it so the foundation kind of like slips off and it just kind of sits on my skin kind of weird. I definitely prefer the Power Grip Primer and the Jelly Pop Dew Primer. Like those ones are amazing. I use them all the time. But you know what? Maybe this time will be different. We don't know. But, oh, you know what? This smells like a vanilla cake donut, like dead on. Like, oh, it smells really good. But I'm just gonna take like that tiny amount. And also this kind of feels a little bit more creamy than the original. Like it's almost like more whipped. It kind of has like this yellow color to it. I'm gonna warm it up between my fingers. And then I'm gonna just kind of apply it to the center of my face first. Because where I have like a pore problem and like texture problems is like right here on my cheeks, around my nose. And then I'm just going to feather it out. Okay, this feels a lot different than the normal putty primer. Like the texture is a little bit more like whipped and moussey, which I really like. I'm gonna take just a tiny bit more on the forehead. And it does smell like a cake donut when you apply it. But again, it's not like a heavy scent. It's just kind of like lightly there. I just ran this sponge underneath this thing and look at how massive it is. Like this is literally the biggest sponge I have ever seen. Like, I mean, look at that. Like it is almost like the size of my face in a way. Like I've never seen one this big. That's what she said. But like this is almost like too big in a way to apply makeup. We're gonna try it out anyways, but I have a feeling this is gonna work a lot better if you cut it into like maybe like fourths or fifths. Cause I mean, it literally looks like a donut. So I feel like if you cut it though, you get more of like an edge, so it's gonna be easier to blend like underneath your eye and whatnot. We'll see how it works though. But I have this gut feeling that it's gonna be like too big. I mean, like, look at this. Like, I love that it's massive, but also like, I got a big face and even for me it's a little bit big. But the texture, like, this is actually a nice sponge. And like the blend I'm getting, like, it looks so good. But I feel like I would like it more if it was just a little bit smaller. A lot bit smaller, but again, this is more like a novelty item. I personally would recommend cutting it. But if you want it because it's a donut, it's really nice. But you can kind of see, like, it's hard to get like underneath the eye and like around the nose and whatnot. And again, like, I got a big face, I got a lot of real estate, and it's kind of like just hard to get in the, like, the nooks and crannies with it. It isn't horrible because again, it's very like squishy. It's a very soft sponge. Like, I don't feel like I am like smacking myself in the face with an actual donut. And also, I don't know what sorcery is happening, but this putty primer is actually working for me. Like, my foundation is not slipping off of it. It's not like creasing and doing like a weird situation. I'm wearing this one. It is the NYX Bear with Me Concealer Serum. I really like this as a foundation though. Like, when I use this, I use it as both foundation and concealer. But you can see it's not like slipping off my face. It looks really good so far. Now, time will tell, but right now I'm really in love with it. I gotta say, like, this look is turning out so pretty. Like, I love it. Like, it's definitely like screaming like spring. But the only thing I won't be using today is the lip scrub because I have some eczema on my lips. They're kind of like dry and flaking, and there's like some little like cracks where they're bleeding. I just feel like using something like this probably isn't like the wisest choice. I will try it out though and keep you guys updated. But oh my gosh, like, this smells like a literal coffee. Like, it doesn't smell like fake coffee. Like, this actually smells like how coffee tastes. So I'm gonna try this on the back of my hand, and like, that's actually like the perfect amount of grit. Like, it's not super gritty where it feels like sandpaper and just like really like abrasive, but it's also not like really oily where it feels like you're just gonna burn through this like way too fast. Like, it's like the perfect middle. So we're gonna finish up the lower lash line. I'm gonna go back in with that kind of like mid-tone brown out of the Boston Cream palette. Again, I'm just going in with that shader brush that we already used. I'm first popping it underneath the eye. And I'm gonna do both sides. Again, using that same brush. So on the yellow side, I'm just gonna buff it out using that pale yellow. And I'm just going in with a teeny tiny little blending brush. And just kissing the edge. And then for the mauve side, I'm just gonna go in with the darkest mauve on the palette. So for the inner corner, I'm gonna do something kind of funky. So I'm gonna go in with the lightest shade out of the strawberry palette. This kind of like icier shade, and again, it is a little bit dusty in the pants. It's kind of getting everywhere, but I'm taking it on this pencil brush and popping it in the inner corner on the pink side. And oh, that is pigmented. It is super icy, and it has a lot of shine to it. It kind of has like a pinky undertone to it. It's not like super pink though. And then I'm just gonna go in with a second layer. You can kind of see it does have a little bit of kickback to it. Now for the yellow side, we're gonna go back in with that Boston Cream palette and go in with this whitest shade. Now this one's a little bit more of like a white gold. And again, just going in with a pencil brush. Yep, you can see it just has like a little hint of yellow to it. I actually prefer the formula just a little bit more of this shimmer. Like, it's not so like crumbly. I'm just gonna do a second layer. Again, they're both really cute, but I feel like this one's just a little bit more poppin'. And then the last item we're going to be testing out is the Glaze for Days lip gloss. And again, these are keychains. I haven't seen something like this in a hot minute, but I do want to do some swatches because again, I'm not too sure on the pigmentation. So this first one we have is the more pinky one, and I believe that you can only get these in the set. Ooh. It's a lot brighter than I was expecting. Like, that's kind of like a fuchsia. Now I will warn you, it is kind of like spilling out of the package just a little bit. It could be because it got cold in shipment, I'm not sure. And then the next one we have is the orange one. Ooh. It kind of smells like chocolate frosting. But I'm gonna go in with the orange one because I think it's just gonna match this look a little bit better. Because the pink is just like a little too pink, a little too bright. And to me, it just feels like a basic gloss. Like, it doesn't feel like thick or goopy. This feels really nice. And you can see it has a really pretty sheen to it as well. It's not like a super like crazy juicy gloss, and also it's not like thick or sticky. It's very lightweight and comfortable. I absolutely love how this look turned out. It's very like whimsical, fairy-esque, very like spring. I don't know, like I think it just turned out really beautiful. And again, like these eyeshadow palettes were really nice. Again, they're a little bit on the powdery side. They're a little bit more buildable, so if you're not into that, you might not like these. But again, I think the colors are really cute. Now, I will say though, with the pastels being so fair in this, I would definitely recommend using a light color tacky primer just to make sure that they adhere, because they are a little bit on the dusty side, and just to make them really pop, because again, they are super light. The only thing with these eyeshadow palettes is I wish you could buy them individually, because again, not everybody's into the same colors, and also with them being packaged as quads, I think it's kind of odd that you can't buy them individual. Like, I understand why they did it that way, but it would just be nice if you could just buy the one that you want, or you know, if they would have just made a large palette in general. But again, they're really cute. If you've been eyeing them, I think they're fairly nice. Again, they're not like my new favorite eyeshadow formula, but I can definitely see myself using them again. But if you're gonna get one item on this whole collection, get the donut sponge. It is so fun and cool. I've never seen anything like it before. And also, like, it is very like squishy, and it applied to my makeup really nice. Just overall, I'm really impressed with it. And also, if you're wanting to get more uses out of it, just cut it up and you'll get like 4 or 5 sponges out of it. So you can definitely get a lot of bang for your buck with it. And again, like a donut sponge, like, I don't know, like I think it's just really cute. Now, another item I am so impressed with is the Don't Forget Putty Primer. Now, normally I'm not really into the putty primer. It doesn't really work for my skin type. I feel like it just kind of like sits on top of the skin, and then like my foundation slips off of it, and it just never really works out. But seriously, like this one actually worked for me, and it looks so nice. Like, look at how nice my skin is looking right in here. Like, nothing slipping or sliding, creasing, none of that. Like, it just looks really, really good. So if you're like me and the putty primer doesn't work out for you, I have tried 3 in the past, and this is the first one that has worked for me, so now I have tried 4. So there's something different about this one, and I do not know what it is, but I can't wait to try it out more. But yeah, so in the comments down below, let me know what you think about the look, and also let me know what you think about the collection, and if you're gonna be picking up anything from it, because I'd love to hear what you think about it as well. But before you go though, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on Instagram or TikTok, it's at Breyonna as well. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!